All right, so now part 4, the lighting. Now we're not talking about background lighting, we're talking about actual lighting for lighting the subject. This is where we make you look like a freaking movie star. You are gonna be looking so good that people will be smashing that like button and smashing that subscribe button. But in all seriousness, a key aspect of what makes an image look compelling and engaging is how well it shows depth. Lighting is a crucial way in adding depth to your shot. Look at the difference between these two shots. One is me facing a light head on, and one is where the light is sort of on the side of my face. Notice how there's so much more depth in the second one because you can see the light streaming across my face, and you can see where certain parts of my face, like my nose, jut out and cast certain shadows. That helps to really give a sense of the terrain of your face. This second one just looks so much more relatable and is way more engaging for your audience. So the way we intentionally light our subject is with a 3-point lighting setup. This is where we have a key light, which is the main light that we use to light our subject. We've got a fill light, something to slightly soften the shadows by filling them in a little bit. And then what we have is usually a rim light or a hair light, or what we call a kicker light. That's basically all the same word for something that just serves to outline your subject to separate them from the background. So firstly, your key light. So to set up your key light, you're gonna have to find a way to create or buy a large diffuse light source. The idea is to get illumination from a large surface area. The larger the area, the better. This is why many people opt to shoot next to windows, because as long as you're not in direct sunlight, that's a huge giant area of diffuse light coming in, which is a really cheap, free way to light your videos. So besides shooting by a window, you have a couple options. One, you can just buy one of these things. I'll throw a couple links in the description. Here's the light that I have here. This is called a softbox. It's a light that has a diffuse film over it to take that point light source and diffuse it across a larger surface area. Secondly, you can also create your own large diffuse light source by draping a piece of paper or a clear frosted shower curtain over the front of a light source. That takes that beam of light and sort of disperses it, diffuses it to get a similar effect to what we have here. Now, the farther away that lamp is, that light source, from the paper or the diffuse shower curtain, the more diffuse your light source is gonna be. And thirdly, you can actually get something for super cheap. Like this IKEA lamp thingy that I have, I just use it to set the mood when I'm trying to edit something and I wanna get kind of in my little editing cave. I turn it on and like, bam, everything looks super cinematic because it's already got this super, at least vertically diffused surface area. And so it casts a really nice, soft glow on everything. So if I didn't have this softbox, I would actually take that and just set it right here, right in front of my face. And I think that would look really, really nice. Honestly, if you're on a budget, I can't recommend this enough. I'll throw a couple links in the description. Whether you're buying a really legit one, something super cheap, or creating one yourself, really think about how you can get the largest surface area diffuse light source possible. So once you have that key light source figured out, you're gonna wanna place it at about 45 degrees off center from the subject's face. And what that does is it allows the light to shine across the face rather than directly at it, and really gives that spatial definition to that face, that depth. You don't wanna put it too far to the side because that gives all the light to the side of your face, and then the center of your face is gonna be really dark. So that looks kind of weird. And you definitely don't want it right in the front, giving you a deer in the headlights look where you completely lose all the shadows and you lose all of that contour from your face. If you do this right, you should end up with what is called Rembrant lighting. That's where the nose casts a shadow on the person's cheekbone, and so you have like this sort of a triangle on their cheek. So secondly, you got your fill light. The point of the fill light is to soften up the shadows. It either shines or bounces some more of that key light onto your face so that you don't have these like super dark parts of your face on the opposite side. Depending on how dramatic you want your shot to be, and kind of depending on your space too, you may or may not even need to use a fill light. So for here, my key light is pretty bright and my wall is right here. It's kind of this white section of wall. So it kind of bounces enough light. There's enough ambient light reflecting like off of this white desk too, that the side of my face isn't actually that dark. But what I've done is I've added another light here, which is sort of a fill light and is also sort of a hair light. We'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of fill light, you can use just a simple white piece of paper or poster board or anything white that allows you to bounce that light. You can also just use another light source to achieve the same effect. Your fill light should roughly be placed mirroring your key light on the opposite side so that it can fill in those shadows. Again, you don't want to fill in the shadows completely, just enough so that they're not super dark and depressing. And then thirdly, you want a hair light. In my case, I've actually got a spotlight, I don't know if you can see it up there, that sometimes I turn on, sometimes I actually turn off. And in this case, I actually use a light right here. The point of a hair light is just to shed some light on the side, sort of near the back side of somebody, so that you get some sort of light in their hair, along their neck and their shoulders. What that does, it helps to draw an outline of your subject, and it helps to separate them from the background. You can kind of see that here where I've got light on the side of my shoulders. But if I were to go turn on that spotlight for a second, give me a sec, I'll show you what it looks like. So I just turned it on, and you can see how it casts light on the very edge of my silhouette. And what happens is it allows me to be separated visually from the background. And for me, the reason why I don't always have that on is I actually don't really want it to be super nice and polished, because I think that gives it a little bit more of a stage effect, and I feel like that kind of separates me from the audience. And I kind of want to feel like I'm just talking to you guys, again, like around a campfire. So that I tend to actually leave off because it also bleeds a little bit onto the wall. And what I like to do is keep the background a little bit darker. But if you're going for that look, that's how you do it. Usually you want this in the back of the subject, roughly anywhere between 6 o'clock directly behind them to around maybe about 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, that range. And typically you want it opposite the key light, because the key light already sheds a lot of light on one side of your body. And if you have that dark background, it already helps you to separate them from the background. But what you want to do is to have the other side not fading into the shadows, but have a little bit of illumination so that the full silhouette of the person really pops. All right, switching to iPhone view right now. So I'm sitting here in the studio. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. So I've got my softbox here. This is my microphone. It's actually just a Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, mounted to a Joby tripod head, mounted to just a generic monopod instead of a boom pole, mounted to a boom pole holder with a grip head on a light stand. Make sure you've got the right mic settings. You gotta tweak a couple things on your mic and on your camera to get everything right. I can cover that in another video if you guys want. I've got some acoustic panels just kind of placed here on the desk just to minimize a little bit of that echo reflection. I tried to put a couple acoustic panels on the wall. I'm in the middle of it, so excuse that over there. That's a work in progress. I got my laptop for my notes, got the camera on the tripod, HDMI output over to this monitor actually. This is just kind of my sound stuff that whenever I play with music, I just kind of leave it here because it's rigged to my desk, so ignore that. So as I'm adjusting my lighting, I'm constantly looking at this histogram here. So as you're filming, you want to be monitoring your histogram. So you want to make sure nothing's all the way on the right side, flush against the edge. That means it's overexposed, and nothing against the very left edge. That would mean it's underexposed. Anything past that means you're losing details in the highlights or in the shadows. You want to make sure that your entire histogram graph is contained between these two edges. The nice kind of distribution here. So it looks pretty good. We've got a little bit on the right side we can take care of, but I just kind of reset up everything super quick to get you the shots that I needed to show you. But anyways, that's how it works. Kind of monitoring everything, making sure that my microphone is in the right spot. I don't want anything in the red, kind of keeping it between roughly here and the yellows. You would probably change all this stuff because I just turned my camera on for demonstration. I also have this thing right here, which is supposed to be an acoustic blanket. I've been cheap and I actually just got a mover's blanket. Way cheaper, but it's just some heavy piece of fabric that you can use to hang on your wall. I've mounted it with a couple nails and binder clips. You can hook this sort of fabric onto the wall and have it dampen any noise that you have. And so yeah, that's how we do it in 4 easy steps. The next step being to turn on your camera and start filming. I know I couldn't shut up about the course earlier. I'm just really excited. My goal was 6 months ago, I quit my job, giving myself a year to try to build something online that works to make the world a more loving place through video. That is both in the videos that I create and also help you make the world a more loving place, because I think the magic of the internet is so freaking cool that we get to connect across space and time. It's space travel and time travel. Like, that's freaking amazing. And if you do videos for yourself, your brand, or even your company, who says you can't be loving people through the work you do just because it's for a company? So anyways, in the spirit of my last video, hashtag take more swings, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this channel into something that is sustainable. So anyways, if you're interested in that course at all, there's a discount here if you're a subscriber and you hit the bell notification icon, but that's on the honor system. I trust you guys. Just go down there, click the link, and you'll get this massive discount on the course. And that kind of takes you to that next step. After you've set up your lighting setup and your studio, how you can get that best quality footage without having to go rummage through hundreds of tutorials yourself. But yeah, anyways, that's it for now. Thanks so much for checking this out. Please consider subscribing to this channel, and I hope to be cheering on your journeys in parallel as we figure this thing out together. All right, friends, I wish you guys well. Much love, everybody. Peace.